already dreading stepping on the scale after the holidays? Looking to get your routine back on track? Well, real lasting change is possible. Next year's holiday season can feel lighter and calmer and more joyful. And it starts with understanding the mindful way to initiate change. Stay tuned as I share the three phases of change and provide solid support on how to implement them. I've helped hundreds of women, including me, get their lives back on track after the shock of midlife weight gain, sleeplessness, and stress. I also want to offer you a spot in my 5 Steps to a Midlife Reset Masterclass. It's a free webinar where I'll provide a deeper dive into this science, giving you a workable framework to tackle your New Year's goals. The link will be in the show notes, or you can find more details on my website. So, welcome to the Midlife Reset Podcast. This is episode number 41, and I'm your host, Cheryl Gordon, yoga therapist and mindfulness coach. So, let's dive in. Does this resonate with you? You worked your ass off to create a magical holiday for everyone. You have shopped, you have cooked, you have smiled, you invited your sister-in-law just to keep the peace. You skipped your workouts in order to get it all done. And now your house is trashed. The scale is mocking you. No one has a clue how tired you really are. And there is this nagging thought rumbling around in your heart. Maybe all those loved and dear ones don't know or care how hard you worked. When this used to happen to me, my husband would say, "Well, then don't do it next year." He was bewildered as to why making all those specially pressed cookies were absolutely pivotal to the happy holiday memories of my entire extended family. He was oblivious to how I stayed awake nights, racking my brain for the perfect gift for my father-in-law, and that if I didn't nail it, well, it would mean that my in-laws would think that I was selfish. Ah! So now that we've acknowledged the post-holiday stress and disappointment, know that you're normal. Let's talk about why I didn't just follow my husband's advice all those years. Why don't we just change, not do it, like now? Well, because change feels really hard. We are not wired for it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is expecting ourselves to flip a switch overnight. To understand the depth of resistance to change, we need to appreciate our habit brains. About 90% of the time or more, the decisions and the behaviors and the likes and the dislikes, they're all organized by our habit brain. This is a primal part of our brain that has evolved very little in the last million or so years. Why? Excuse me. Why, do you say? Because it works. It works very well and has kept humans alive and evolving quite nicely, thank you. In fact, I share this wiring with my dog and with most other creatures on the planet. It's rather humbling, I know. Humans do have an amazing higher level of brain power, but it is tremendously energy hungry. So, as much as daily life as we can imagine, as much as daily life as we can manage, we shunt over to the habit side. Mindfulness is the process of pulling life out of automatic pilot and into conscious awareness. So, mindfulness is the process of pulling life out of automatic pilot and into conscious awareness. And it is work, I know. But you have the world's most sophisticated and powerful computer in your head. And yet, most of us don't even unpack the box. So, today I want to detail for you how to seduce that habit brain into doing what you want. This is how to initiate change on purpose and stick to it. So, these are the 3 phases of change. The first phase I call the status quo. This is where most of us start. We know what to do, whether it's getting back to healthy eating or moving our bodies or managing our stress, but finding motivation feels impossible. We research, we think, we wish a little bit. We blame ourselves, we blame others, we procrastinate. Sometimes we even shame ourselves for not doing better. Does that sound familiar? It's exhausting, and yet it's completely normal and the first phase of change. Now, you may have to stay in this phase for a while. Some of us stay there for years. But at some point, you'll find the drive to commit to doing something different. Now, this is where most of us jump to what I call the overwhelm zone. This is where we try to do a 180-degree pivot. We go all in. This stage of change is often characterized by strict rules, rigid diets and thinking, punishments, maybe even, those dreaded group weigh-ins. So the intention is good. I mean, we want to change, but the nervous system gets completely overwhelmed. And this approach is just not sustainable. Most of us burn out and we fall back into our old habits relatively quickly. So that's not where we want to go, the overwhelm zone. This is where most of us make our biggest mistakes. Let's loop back talking about that habit brain again. The habit brain has three goals. It wants to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and to keep things the same. Remember, this is old primal wiring. If you did something different, back in the day when we're all living in caves, you might get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. You could be mocked or ejected from the tribe, which would mean certain death back in the day. Better to stay in the cave, right? Do what you've always done. The habit brain knows what's going to happen if you stay in the cave. Risk is a survival threat, and your habit brain cannot tolerate that. So when you do that 180-degree pivot, the habit brain will fight you. Willpower alone will not carry you through. Your survival instincts are just too strong. You're going to need another level of understanding and strategy. That's why I encourage moving into the third phase, which is the fluidity space. Here, change is broken down into very small, digestible steps. We give ourselves time to reason things out before making a shift. We consult our brain on each step and allow our nervous system to adjust. We ask ourselves questions like, what would happen if, or can I just try? Instead of expecting perfection, we practice self-compassion. We notice that pressure to be perfect and gradually introduce new habits in a way that feels doable and sustainable. Now, when first initiating change, we might only be able to follow the new behavior 20% of the time and still fall off the wagon 80% of the time. This is absolutely normal. A lot of people find this. If they go past, say, the first 3 or 4 days, they fall off the bandwagon and they think, oh, I just don't have the willpower, or it's too hard, or it's just not for me. But you know what? You're normal if you're falling off the bandwagon 4 out of 5 times. This is the process of change. Over time, and this could be days, weeks, months, could be years, we slowly shift to getting it right 40% of the time. Then we push it to 60% of the time. And then finally, we might get the new habit, whatever we tried to change to, about 80% of the time. But notice that we will never be expecting 100% compliance or 100% perfection. For me, in the past, I've put my foot down. That's it. I'm not eating any sugar. Or I've had other kicks where I'm walking 10K a day. It lasts for a couple days, and then, well, the excuses, my habit brain kicks them up. Oh, I hear a podcast that said that sugar wasn't that bad. Or, I think my knee isn't happy with all those extra steps. And then, all those excuses, all those distractions pile up, and I fall away from whatever I put my foot down about. We've all done it. And now you know that that's your habit brain trying to pull you back into familiarity. Your higher dreams and goals do not have a home in your habit brain. So to recap really fast, aim to stay in the fluidity zone when you want to make change. Don't expect perfection and give yourself lots of time to make little steps rather than one grand gesture. And here's one more important piece. Remember that habit brain loves pleasure? You can work with that. You can hack into your natural wiring and make it work for you. And here's how. What can you do to celebrate those tiny steps, those little wins? This is a key point. So many people overlook that we're actually just big kids, you know? We still have those little girls and little boys inside of us. We like stickers. We like an extra bedtime story or family game night. So playing with that, knowing that you're just a big kid, find a way to say, yay, when you get something right. When you do it 20% of the time in the early stages of change, what are you going to do to celebrate that? Now, I use stickers. Don't judge now. I have congratulations banner that I put up in the kitchen when I've achieved a particular milestone. And I also give myself permission to settle in with a good old-fashioned magazine. I love to turn the pages of the magazine and just give myself half an hour with a good cup of tea and my book. I don't do it with no guilt, because I feel that that's my little win for having stuck with my behavior. You'll have your own unique rewards that fit with your habit brain that make the little girl or the little boy in you really happy. So don't forget, all this information and more steps to a midlife reset are in my free masterclass. I'll put the link in the show notes below, or you can head to my website for further details. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found anything I talked about helpful, you can share this podcast, you can download it, and I'd love to get your reviews and comments. We'll talk soon. Hey, girlfriend, I'm so glad that you're listening to this podcast. But I wonder if you wanted to take the work a bit deeper. Would you like to feel lighter, sleep better, and wake up energized again? Join my 60-minute free masterclass to learn the 5 steps that help me lose 25 pounds, reset my body, and finally feel calm, strong, and confident again. You can register on my website, and I really hope to see you soon.